students, in the continuation of your class 10th biology, last day we had discussed about the asexual reproduction. We had started this chapter reproduction, and in that part we had discussed about this asexual reproduction. And one method we discussed yesterday, that is binary fission. Binary fission means when one cell it splits into two daughter cells, okay, and the division is by mitosis or amitosis, in which two new daughter cells are formed. And one more thing that we discussed, that is like in this case of plasmodium or cyst formation in the amoeba, they divide repeatedly within one cell, and when the number of cells are formed, then during the favorable condition the cell wall burst and they release the different cells into this surrounding. Okay, this is called this multiple fission. Okay, so these two methods, that is about the asexual reproduction. Today that we are going to discuss is about the next asexual mode of reproduction, that is budding. So budding, it is also asexual mode of reproduction, in which some organisms like Hydra or this yeast, they reproduce through budding. So first of all we should to know what is bud. Bud is a small outgrowth. Suppose this is the body of a Hydra, this is the mouth and these are the tentacles. These are the tentacles, this is the body, this is the nucleus. Okay, so what happens during this division? Again it will divide by mitosis. Okay, this nucleus will divide mitotically and it will divide into two. Meanwhile, there will be some small outgrowth start to form on the body of this Hydra. Okay, small outgrowth. This outgrowth is called bud. This is called this bud. Suppose this is the yeast. So what will happen? A small outgrowth will start to form, and meanwhile what will happen? This nucleus will start to divide. The nucleus will divide into two daughter nuclei. Similarly here also it will divide into two daughter nuclei. Then bud will form, then division simultaneously, this division of nucleus also takes place. Then this nucleus will move into the bud. This one nucleus will move into the bud. And now this bud is having a nucleus. Now during maturity, this bud will detach from this parent body and it will start to work as new individual. This is called this mode of reproduction, that is asexual mode of reproduction, called as budding. Takes place, examples that you have to remember, it is in Hydra or yeast. Okay, so bud is what? It is the small outgrowth that comes out of the body of the particular organism like yeast or Hydra. Then the nucleus will divide, one nucleus will move into this bud, then on maturity the bud will detach from this parent body and it will work as new individual. So this bud will develop into a new individual. So this mode of reproduction is called budding. Okay. Next method of reproduction, that is asexual reproduction, is fragmentation. Fragmentation, like it takes place in Spirogyra and alga. It is an alga. This mode of reproduction, that is the fragmentation, takes place in the organism that is having some filamentous body with individual nucleus. Like if we will talk about this filamentous body of this Spirogyra, it is having this type of structure. It is having this filamentous body like filament, and this is having the nucleus. So what will happen during fragmentation? If any part of this body of this particular organism, it will detach So what will happen? It will divide into different fragments. It will divide into different fragments, and every fragment will develop into new individual. And this mode of reproduction is called fragmentation. Okay, so this is the fragmentation takes place in Spirogyra. Next method is that is regeneration. It is regeneration. Regeneration literally means that is to regenerate. Regenerate means if any body part cut, it will start to regenerate, means it will start to grow and develop into a new individual. So it is regeneration, like you have seen in case of this lizard. If its tail detach from its body, it start to regenerate and it develop into this complete tail. But it is not a reproduction. It is only the regeneration in case of body. Okay? But here what that we are going to discuss is about this regeneration. Here, if the body part will cut into different fragments, different parts, then every part will regenerate into a new individual. Means every part, like in the case of this funaria, if it is having this like body, and suppose this is the body and it divide into different fragments, different parts. We will cut it into different parts, so every part will develop into new individual. It is capable to develop into a new individual. So this is called this regeneration. This is different from the regeneration that is taking place into the tail of lizard, because there it is not going to develop into any new individual. But here in the case of this funaria, when its body will be divided into different parts, so every part will regenerate into a new individual. So it is called this mode of asexual reproduction called as regeneration. Okay, so this is about regeneration. And after that, next is asexual method is spore formation. It is spore formation. Here spore is asexual body that develops into organisms like fungi. Like you have seen the fungi, bread mold. When we keep a bread, moist bread, into open air, then the colony of this fungus start to develop on this piece of bread. Why? Because the spores of this particular fungus that is present in our air, and when these spores reaches on this piece of bread, then they start to develop, or they start to divide and develop into a particular new colony. It is an example of this fungi. So this small structure that is converting into a new individual, it is called this spores. Millions of spores are present in our air of this particular fungi. So these spores are developed into a structure called as sporangium. Sporangium. Like this is it is the sporangium. It is sporangium that is filled with spores. And when it bursts, it releases all the spores into air, and with the help of this air movement, it travels from one place to another place, and whenever it found its suitable condition, it will develop into a new individual. Mainly it takes place in the case of this fungi. Okay, so all these are the different mode of asexual reproduction that we discuss about this fission. It is binary and multiple fission, then budding, regeneration, fragmentation, and spore formation. One more and very important mode of reproduction that is also included in the asexual reproduction, it will be in case of plants. Okay, it is in case of plant. If we will talk about this plant, the plant reproduces by two methods. One is that is vegetative parts and second is by sexual part. Vegetative parts means if the reproduction takes place other than the sexual parts, means with the help of stem, root, leaf. These are called this vegetative part. These are included under the vegetative part, like this stem, root or leaf. So if the reproduction is done by these vegetative part, then this reproduction is called vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction. If the reproduction is done other than sexual part, like flower or flower, then it is called this vegetative reproduction. Then the reproduction will be takes place by the help of this stem, root or leaf. It is called this vegetative reproduction. But if the reproduction takes place by the sexual part, like flower, flower is the sexual part in the plant, and if the reproduction takes place, because this flower contain both the male and female reproductive parts. So if the reproduction takes place with the help of the sexual part, that is flower, then it is called this sexual reproduction. So in the plants it is the mode of asexual reproduction and it is the sexual reproduction if the reproduction takes place with the help of flower. Okay students, so tomorrow we will discuss about this vegetative reproduction, then we will come to this sexual reproduction in flower, and then after sexual reproduction in mammals and in human beings. Okay, but you have to revise these topics very carefully from your book and any other source, any other reference books that you are having, okay, so that it will be more clear to you all. Okay students, so revise it properly. Thank you.